To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Ay, there's the rub, for in that sleep of death what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would these fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of? Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with disregard their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. End of To Be or Not to Be. From Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain.
O Spite, O Hell! From A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 3, Scene 2. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Clarica. O Spite, O Hell! I see you all are bent to set against me for your merriment. If you were civil and knew courtesy, you would not do me thus much injury. Can you not hate me, as I know you do, but you must join in souls to mock me too? If you were men, as men you are in show, you would not use a gentle lady so, to vow and swear and superpraise my parts, when I am sure you hate me with your hearts. You both are rivals, and love Hermia, and now both rivals to mock Helena. A trim exploit, a manly enterprise, to conjure tears up in a poor maid's eyes with your derision, and extort a poor soul's patience, all to make you sport. End of O Spite, O Hell! From A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 3, Scene 2. This recording is in the public domain.
My Mistress with a Monster is in Love. From A Midsummer Night's Dream, by William Shakespeare, Act 3, Scene 2. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Elizabeth Klett. My mistress with a monster is in love. Near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals, that work for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus's nuptial day. The shallowest thick-skin of that barren sort, who Pyramus presented in their sport, forsook his scene and entered in a break, when I did him at this advantage take. An ass's knoll I fixed on his head, anon his Thisbe must be answered, and forth my mimic comes. When they him spy, as wild geese that the creeping fowler eye, or russet-pated choughs many in sort, rising and cawing at the gun's report, sever themselves and madly sweep the sky, so at his sight away his fellows fly. And at our stamp here o'er and o'er one falls, he murder cries, and help from Athens calls. their sense thus weak, lost with their fears thus strong, made senseless things begin to do them wrong, for briars and thorns at their apparel snatch, some sleeves, some hats, from yielders all things catch. I led them on in this distracted fear, and left sweet Pyramus translated there, when in that moment, so it came to pass, Titania waked, and straightway loved an ass. End of My Mistress with a Monster is in Love, from A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare, Act 3, Scene 2. This recording is in the public domain. Now the Hungry Lion Roars, from A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare, Act 5, Scene 1. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Elizabeth Klett. Now the hungry lion roars, and the wolf behowls the moon, whilst the heavy ploughman snores, all with weary task fordone. Now the wasted brands do glow, whilst the screech-owl, screeching loud, puts the wretch that lies in woe in remembrance of a shroud. Now it is the time of night, that the graves, all gaping wide, every one lets forth his sprite in the church-way paths to glide. And we fairies, that do run by the triple Hecate's team, from the presence of the sun, following darkness like a dream, now are frolic. Not a mouse shall disturb this hallowed house. I am sent with broom before, to sweep the dust behind the door. End of Now the Hungry Lion Roars, from A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare, Act 5, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. Thou Speak'st Aright, from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 2, Scene 1. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Elizabeth Klett. Thou speak'st aright. I am that merry wanderer of the night. I jest to Oberon and make him smile, when I a fat and bean-fed horse beguile, neighing in likeness of a filly foal. And sometime lurk I in a gossip's bowl, in very likeness of a roasted crab, and when she drinks, against her lips I bob, and on her withered dewlap pour the ale. The wisest aunt, telling the saddest tale, sometime for 3-foot stool mistaketh me, then slip I from her bum, down topples she, and "Tailor!" cries, and falls into a cough, and then the whole choir hold their hips and laugh, and waxen in their mirth, and neeze, and swear a merrier hour was never wasted there. But room, fairy, here comes Oberon. End of Thou Speak'st Aright, from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 2, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain.
Call You Me Fair, from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 1, Scene 1, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Helena. Call you me fair? That fair again unsay. Demetrius loves your fair. O happy fair! Your eyes are lodestars, and your tongue's sweet air more tuneable than lark to shepherd's ear, when wheat is green, when hawthorn buds appear. Sickness is catching. Oh, were favours so! Yours I would catch, fair Hermia, ere I go. My ear should catch your voice, my eye your eye, my tongue should catch your tongue's sweet melody. Were the world mine, Demetrius being baited, the rest I'd give to be you translated. O teach me how you look, and with what art you sway the motion of Demetrius's heart.
End of Call You Me Fair from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 1, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. What a noble mind is here o'erthrown, from Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Ophelia. Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown! The courtiers, soldiers, scholars' eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion and the mould of form, the observed of all observers, quite down, an eye of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows. Now see that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled, out of tune and harsh. That unmatched form and feature of blown youth blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me, to have seen what I have seen, see what I see. End of What a Noble Mind is Here Overthrown. From Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. Love Sought is Good, from Twelfth Night, Act 3, Scene 1, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Olivia. Oh, what a deal of scorn looks beautiful in the contempt and anger of his lip! A murderous guilt shows not itself more soon than love that would seem hid. Love's night is noon. Cesario, by the roses of the spring, by maidhood, honour, truth, and every thing, I love thee so, that maugre all thy pride, nor wit nor reason can my passion hide. Do not extort thy reason from this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast no cause, but rather reason thus with reason fetter. Love sought is good, but given unsought better. End of Love Sought is Good, from Twelfth Night, Act 3, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. Stand I Condemned for Pride? From Much Ado About Nothing, Act 3, Scene 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Beatrice. What fire is in mine ears? Can this be true? Stand I condemned for pride and scorn so much? Contempt, farewell! And maiden pride, adieu! No glory lives behind the back of such. And Benedict, love on, I will requite thee, taming my wild heart to thy loving hand. If thou dost love, my kindness shall incite thee to bind our loves up in a holy band. For others say thou dost deserve, and I believe it better than reportingly. End of Stand I Condemned for Pride? From Much Ado About Nothing, Act 3, Scene 1.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Joanne Wheeler. I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, from Julius Caesar, Act 1, Scene 2. I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, as well as I do know your outward favour. Well, honour is the subject of my story. I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life, but for my single self, I had as lief not be as live to be in awe of such a thing as I myself. I was born free as Caesar. So were you. We both have fed as well, and we can both endure the winter's cold as well as he. For once, upon a raw and gusty day, the troubled Tiber chafing with her shores, Caesar said to me, Darest thou, Cassius, now leap in with me into this angry flood, and swim to yonder point? Upon the word, accoutred as I was, I plunged in and bade him follow. So indeed he did. The torrent roared, and we did buffet it with lusty sinews, throwing it aside and stemming it with hearts of controversy. But ere we could arrive the point proposed, Caesar cried, "Help me, Cassius, or I sink!" I, as Aeneas, our great ancestor, did from the flames of Troy upon his shoulder the old Anchises bear, so from the waves of Tiber did I the tyrant Caesar. And this man is now become a god, and Cassius is a wretched creature and must bend his body if Caesar carelessly but nod on him. He had a fever when he was in Spain, and when the fit was on him, I did mark how he did shake. 'Tis true, this god did shake. His coward lips did from their colour fly, and that same eye whose bend doth all the world did lose his lustre. I did hear him groan, ay, and that tongue of his that bade the Romans mark him and write his speeches in their books, alas, it cried, "Give me some drink, Titinius," as a sick girl. Ye gods, it doth amaze me a man of such feeble temper should so get the start of the majestic world, and bear the palm alone. End of I Know That Virtue to Be in You, Brutus, from Julius Caesar, Act 1, Scene 2. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.
Go, gentlemen, every man unto his charge, from Richard III, Act 5, Scene 3, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Go, gentlemen, every man unto his charge. Let not our babbling dreams affright our souls. Conscience is but a word that cowards use, devised at first to keep the strong in awe. Our strong arms be our conscience, swords our law. March on, join bravely, let us to it pell-mell, if not to heaven, then hand in hand to hell. What shall I say more than I have inferred? Remember whom you are to cope withal, a sort of vagabonds, rascals, and runaways, a scum of Brentons and base lackey peasants, whom their o'ercloyed country vomits forth to desperate ventures and assured destruction. You sleeping safe, they bring to you unrest. You having lands and blessed with beauteous wives, they would restrain the one, disdain the other. And who doth lead them but a paltry fellow, long kept in Bretagne at our mother's cost, a milksop, one that never in his life felt so much cold as over shoes in snow? Let's whip these stragglers o'er the seas again, lash hence these overweening rags of France, these famished beggars weary of their lives, who, but for dreaming of this fond exploit, for want of means poor rats had hanged themselves. If we be conquered, let men conquer us, and not these bastard Brentons, whom our fathers have in their own land beaten, bobbed, and thumped, and in record left them in their airs of shame. Shall these enjoy our lands, lie with our wives, ravish our daughters? Hark! I hear their drum. Fight, gentlemen of England! Fight, bold yeomen! Draw, archers, draw your arrows to the head, spur your proud horses hard, and ride in blood. Amaze the welkin with your broken staves. End of Go, gentlemen, every man unto his charge, from Richard III, Act 5, Scene 3. This recording is in the public domain.
Queen Margaret, from King Richard III, Act 4, Scene 4. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Merne. Bear with me, I'm hungry for revenge, and now I cloy me with beholding it. Thy Edward he is dead, that killed my Edward. Thy other Edward is dead, to quit my Edward. Young York, he's but boot, because both they match not the high perfection of my loss. Thy Clarence he is dead, that stabbed my Edward. And the beholders of this tragic play, the adulterate Hastings, Rivers, Vaughan, Grey, untimely smothered in their dusky graves. Richard yet lives, hell's black intelligencer, only reserve their factor to buy souls and send them thither. But at hand ensues his piteous and unpitied end. Earth gapes, hell burns, fiends row. Saints pray to have him suddenly conveyed from hence. Cancel his bond of life, dear God, I pray. that I may live to say, the dog is dead. End of Margaret, from King Richard III, Scene 4, Act 4. This recording is in the public domain.
Our revels now are ended. From The Tempest, Act 4, Scene 1 by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Oh, you do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherits shall dissolve, and, like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. End of Our Revels Now Are Ended. From The Tempest, Act 4, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain.
Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds. From Romeo and Juliet, Act 3, Scene 2, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds, toward Phoebus' lodging. Such a wagoner as Phaeton would whip you to the west, and bring in cloudy night immediately. Spread thy close curtain, love-performing night, that runaway's eyes may wink, and Romeo leap to these arms, untalked of and unseen. Lovers can see to do their amorous rites by their own beauties, or, if love be blind, it best agrees with night. Come, civil night, thou sober-suited matron, all in black, and learn me how to lose a winning match, played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods. Hood my unmanned blood, bating in my cheeks, with thy black mantle, till strange love, grown bold, think true love acted simple modesty. Come, night, come, Romeo, come, thou day in night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Come, gentle night, come, loving, black-browed night, give me my Romeo, and when he shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night, and pay no worship to the garish sun. Oh, I have bought the mansion of a love, but not possessed it, and though I am sold, not yet enjoyed. So tedious is this day, as is the night before some festival to an impatient child that hath new robes and may not wear them. Oh, here comes my nurse, and she brings news, and every tongue that speaks but Romeo's name speaks heavenly eloquence. End of Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds. From Romeo and Juliet, Act 3, Scene 2. This recording is in the public domain.
O for a Muse of Fire, from Henry V, Act 1, Prologue, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by Craig Allen. O for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene! Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, and gentles all the flat unraised spirits that have dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France, or may we cram within this wooden O the very casques that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little place a million, and let us, ciphers to this great accompt, on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts, into 1,000 parts divide on man, and make imaginary puissance. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them printing their proud hoofs of the receiving earth, for 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply admit me chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play. End of O for a Muse of Fire, from Henry V, Act 1, Prologue. This recording is in the public domain. Once More Unto the Breach, from Henry V, Act 3, Scene 1, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by Craig Allen. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more, or close the wall up with our English dead. In peace there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility, but when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favoured rage, then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let pry through the portage of the head like the brass cannon. Let the brow o'erwhelm it, as fearfully as doth a golled rock o'erhang and jutty his confounded base, swilled with the wild and wasteful ocean. Now set the teeth, and stretch the nostril wide. Hold hard the breath, and bend up every spirit to his full height. On, on, you noblest English, whose blood is fet from fathers of war-proof. Fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these parts from morn till even fought and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonor not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good yeomen, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the mettle of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not, for there is none of you so mean and base that hath not noble lustre in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Harry, England, and St. George! End of Once More Unto the Breach, from Henry V, Act 3, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. What's He That Wishes So, from Henry V, Act 4, Scene 3, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by Craig Allen. What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair cousin, if we are marked to die, we are enow to do our country loss, and if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honour. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not, if men my garments wear. Such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honour, I am the most offending soul alive. No, faith, coz, wish not a man from England. God's peace, I would not lose so great an honour as one man more, methinks, would share from me for the best hope I have. Oh, do not wish one more. Rather proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when the day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall live this day and see old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbours, and say, Tomorrow is St. Crispian. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars, and say, These wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot, but he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispin Crispian shall ne'er go by, from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he to-day that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whiles any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's day. End of What's He That Wishes So, from Henry V, Act 4, Scene 3. This recording is in the public domain.
The Feast of St. Crispian, from King Henry V, Act 4, Scene 3, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Brian Lee Rosso, October 6, 2007. What's he that wishes so, my cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are now to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honor. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if men my garments wear. Such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honor, I am the most offending soul alive. No, faith, my coz, wish not a man from England. God's peace, I would not lose so great an honor as one man more, methinks, would share from me. For the best hope I have, I do not wish one more. Rather proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart, his passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall live this day and see old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbors and say, Tomorrow is St. Crispian. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars and say, These wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot, but he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in their mouths as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispin Crispian shall ne'er go by from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he ne'er so vile. this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England, now abed, shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, while any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's day. End of the Feast of St. Crispin, from King Henry V, Act 4, Scene 3. This recording is in the public domain.
The Barge She Sat In, from Antony and Cleopatra, Act 2, Scene 2, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The barge she sat in, like a burnished throne, burned on the water. The poop was beaten gold, purple the sails, and so perfumed that the winds were lovesick with them. The oars were silver, which to the tune of flutes kept stroke, and made the water which they beat to follow faster, as amorous of their strokes. For her own person it beggared all description. She did lie in her pavilion, cloth of gold of tissue, or picturing that Venus where we see the fancy outwork nature. On each side her stood pretty dimpled boys, like smiling cupids, with diverse coloured fans, whose wind did seem to glow the delicate cheeks which they did cool, and what they undid did. Oh, there for Antony. Her gentle women, like the Nereides, so many mermaids, tended her with the eyes, and made their bends adornings. At the helm a seeming mermaid steers, the silken tackle swell with the touches of those flower-soft hands that yarly frame the office. From the barge a strange invisible perfume hits the sense of the adjacent wharves. The city cast her people out upon her, and Antony, enthroned in the market-place, did sit alone whistling to the air, which, but for vacancy, had gone to gaze on Cleopatra too, and made a gap in nature. Egyptian. Upon her landing, Antony sent to her, invited her to supper. She replied it should be better he became her guest, which she entreated. Ah, courteous Antony, whom ne'er the word of no woman heard speak, being barbered 10 times o'er, goes to the feast, and, for his ordinary, pays his heart for what his eyes eat only. Royal wench! She made great Caesar lay his sword to bed. He ploughed her, and she cropped. I saw her once hop 40 paces through the public street, and, having lost her breath, she spoke and panted that she did make defect perfection, and, breathless, power breathed forth. Now Antony must leave her utterly. Never! He will not. Age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety. Other women cloy the appetites they feed, but she makes hungry where most she satisfies. For vilest things become themselves in her, that the holy priests bless her when she is riggish. End of The Barge She Sat In, from Antony and Cleopatra, Act 2, Scene 2. This recording is in the public domain. Blow, blow, thou winter wind, from As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.
Blow, blow, thou winter wind, thou art not so unkind as man's ingratitude. Thy tooth is not so keen because thou art not seen, although thy breath be rude. Hey ho, sing hey ho unto the green holly. Most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. Then hey ho, the holly. This life is most jolly. Freeze, freeze, thou bitter sky, that dost not bite so nigh, as benefits forgot. Though thou the waters warp, thy sting is not so sharp, as friend remembered not. Hey ho, sing hey ho unto the green holly. Most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. Then hey ho, the holly. This life is most jolly. End of Blow, Blow, Thou Winter Wind, from As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7. This recording is in the public domain.